Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? So I wanted to talk about Errol the Truth Spence Jr. We know he have the up-and-coming fight with Sebastian Fundora. It's going to be a title fight for the WBC junior middleweight title. He also holds, Fundora also holds the WBO, but that will presumably be stripped and put on the line for the Terrence Crawford and Madramal fight, because Crawford was already in line for that belt, with Fundora being, suspended, and them choosing to fight Errol Spence as opposed to Crawford, who was number one in line for that belt. It seems as though they're going to put that on the line for Crawford and make that a unification match with the WBA already on the line. So, but there still will be have the green belt, the highly coveted WBC belt in the Spence and Fundora fight, which will take place October, November, right here in Dallas, Texas, Cowboy Stadium. So it's a really big fight, man. It's two guys with fan-pleasing styles, a lot of action. Both of these guys have shown you in previous fights that they're capable of throwing 1,000 punches in a fight. So you got a lot of activity in the ring. And then, Errol Spence, a huge name, fighting in his hometown. You got Sebastian Fundora, who is a spectacle of a fighter himself, being 6'5", 6'6", fighting at 154. Also of Mexican descent. A lot of Mexicans in the state of Texas. That fight is going to do huge numbers in the gate, and it's going to do well on pay-per-view, I believe. And everybody want to see Errol Spence come back and see what he got left. And as you see the title of this video, right? So that's what Errol Spence got coming up. But peep what I just said. October, November. Errol Spence's last performance was the devastating loss to Terrence Bud Crawford last year, July 29th of 2023. Right now, it's June 4th, 2024, and he won't fight again until fall 2024. So that's another year plus of a layoff for Errol Spence Jr., which, it's one of the things that make him great. The fact that he always fights top competition. He don't fight lesser guys. He always goes after the top smoke. And he himself says, hey, I don't do no tune-ups. To him, that might be a flex. And again, that's one of the things that make him great, because he always chases the top competition. He does the things that a lot of guys wish their favorite fighters would do, would fight better competition on a consistent basis. The problem with that, though, is the inactivity. And him being out of the ring, not sharpening his skills, not staying in shape, not really keeping the machine well oiled and running and just consistently growing, because I believe you need those camps. You need those multiple camps throughout the year to continue to grow and sharpen up. Not just training in the gym without any, destination, or without any fights lined up, anything like that. I think it's important to have those multiple camps throughout the year with an actual opponent in mind, getting you some good sparring in and just staying in shape. So the inactivity is one of the things that has really hurt Errol Spence. And with this video being about how much does Errol Spence have left, we got to talk about these things, because you got to talk about the inactivity. You got to talk about the fact that he's coming off of his first loss, which was in devastating fashion to the best fighter in the world. You got to talk about the fact that he had a life-threatening car accident after his unification match with Sean Porter in, 2019. We got to talk about the fact that the pandemic took place right after he recovered from the car accident, and that set him out even longer. We got to talk about the fact that when he had the Manny Pacquiao fight lined up, he had a retina detachment in training, and that set him out even longer. These are all things that I believe has essentially lessened Errol Spence in terms of his durability, in terms of his sharpness and timing. Like after the Terrence Crawford fight, he's one of the first things he said, my timing was off. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the cause of him losing, but that's one of the things that happens when you are consistently inactive. That's one of the things that happens when you take a year off after every fight. That's one of the things that happen when you don't take tune-ups. The whole point of a tune-up is so you can stay finely tuned, so you can keep your craft sharp. And like I said, is one of the things that make Errol Spence great is that he always wants the smoke. He don't duck no smoke. He go after the top dog. Like, look at the fight Fundora just had with Tim Tszyu, a fucking war. Even though Tim Tszyu had the cut over his eye, Fundora still put on a decent account of himself, a good performance, enough to win a fight. And Tim Tszyu is a really good fighter. So you fighting Sebastian Fundora coming off of a war with a really good fighter, an undefeated fighter. Sebastian Fundora, a new champion. Now he got a whole lot of different type of energy about him, different type of confidence now, feeling like he belong at this level. And he done already took a loss, so he ain't really afraid to take no L. So now I think that unleashes him even more without having that fear of losing. So that's a tough match, considering everything. That's a tough match for Errol Spence coming off a loss. And the dude is 6'5", 6'6", and can throw 1,000 punches. Now, one might say, well, his style works to Errol Spence's advantage because Errol Spence is a great inside fighter who goes to the body. Fundora got a long, slender frame. It's going to be wide open for Errol Spence. I totally agree. But I wouldn't have these questions if this was the Errol Spence from 2018. The Errol Spence who was, hadn't been in any car accidents, who hadn't taken a whole lot of punishment on his body inside and out the ring. Errol Spence that was, taking care of himself outside the ring more so as opposed to, not really living that fighter lifestyle. These are all of the things that take a toll on your body as just a regular human being, but let alone a high level elite fighter at the highest level of professional sports. It's tough to maintain the top spot under those conditions. So all that leads me to this question: how much does Errol Spence truly have left to give to the sport of boxing? How much fight does he have left in him? So Errol Spence did post on Twitter like a couple of weeks ago after the Fundora fight was announced. He was like, this might be the last time y'all see me. He deleted that tweet. Maybe that was a PR move. They like, man, don't put that type of energy out there. You got a big fight coming up. You don't want the fans thinking this some type of cash out, a last ditch effort type shit. You feel me? It just lessens the I would say it kind of lessens the quality or the character of the fight when you going in as if this your last fight. So he deleted that, but I still take something away from that simply because Errol Spence, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, is Errol just wanting to go after another title in a different division? Because his main goal was always to be undisputed at 47. He really wanted to be the undisputed champion at 147. That's why he stayed there so long. He should have been moved up. The man, 34 years old and about to have his first fight at 154. He gonna be what, 30? He gonna be 35 this year. No, he be 34 this year. So he's 34 this year, and he's about to have his first fight at 154, his second division. He been at 147 way too long, but the reason he was there, he wanted to be undisputed. The reason he stuck around is for Terrence Crawford. Given all of the things that took place that prolonged his career, some things he could have controlled, some things he couldn't, that led him to this place. So he wanted to be undisputed. That didn't happen at 47. It could still possibly happen, just, hypothetically, given the fact that he's about to fight for a title And there's other titles available at 54 that he could go after. But it seemed like to me, Errol Spence, he just want to be a 2-division champion. That could be a possibility. You know, maybe he just wants to fight Fundora, get that strap, put that 2-division champion attribute or accomplishment by his name, and then call it a career. If he did that, I wouldn't be mad because Errol Spence has already gave so much to the sport. Already gave me, as an Errol Spence fan, a lot of fantastic fights with action, knockouts, beautiful performances. And I would be cool with that. But my question to y'all is, what do y'all think Errol Spence really got left? Do you think he beats Fundora and then goes out there and tries to go for undisputed or go for a unification at 154, go get a rematch with Terrence Crawford? Or is this all? Is this it? You know, I think those are valid questions. And then when you look at this matchup in and of itself is going to be a tough ass matchup. Does Errol Spence win this fight? Again, the Errol Spence prior to all of this shit transpiring, I would have picked Errol Spence in a heartbeat. I wouldn't have no question at all. And I still think, all things considered, Errol Spence is still the more skilled fighter. He's the more experienced fighter. He's the smarter fighter. I think physically he's the stronger fighter. I think Errol Spence do everything better than Sebastian Fundora. But again, under these conditions, I just think it's a tough fight. And I'm genuinely wondering how much does Errol Spence truly have left. I don't want to see him go out there against this dude and, you know, this dude just sitting down on all his punches, flat-footed, and throwing caution to the wind and throws 1,000 punches. And even if Errol Spence gets out of this fight with the victory, just thinking about the damage that he could sustain in this fight, I can see Errol Spence, even at this stage in his career, going in there and beating Sebastian Fundora the fuck up. I could see that. I could definitely see that. But it's hard to really envision that when he's coming off, he's showing the same consistencies that have troubled him in recent years. The long layoffs, the no tune-ups, you know, him looking kind of sluggish in training and stuff like that. You know, I'm seeing him in the gym and getting right, you know. He been at Duncanville Boxing Academy, you know, getting right, working, just kind of on some pre-camp shit, just getting himself right. Because, you know, the fight ain't until later on down the line. So it's only June now. He got a whole lot of time to get back to that Errol Spence form that we normally see him physically. So I ain't worried about him being in physical shape. It's just the fact that him being out the ring, being away from under the lights for so long, I think that's an issue. But I'm just genuinely making this video to kind of get y'all's thoughts and see where y'all mind is with it, man. What do y'all think Errol Spence have left? I mean, how much do you think Errol Spence really have left? Do you see him just having a last hurrah, go for a title in a new division, become a 2-division champ, call it a career? Or do you see him actually moving forward beyond this, assuming that he gets the win over Fundora? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender Regime Boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.